Virgo, something is coming through and it made me smile a little because there's a warmth here, a specific kind, not the nervous, uncertain warmth of something new and unproven, something more settled than that, more comfortable. Like, you know, that feeling when you walk into a kitchen and someone is cooking something and the smell reaches you before anything else does, and your whole body just relaxes before you've even said hello? That's the quality of what I'm picking up. And I want to stay here for a second before I go anywhere else because I think what's happening in your life right now is more layered than it looks on the surface. And I don't want to rush past the part that actually matters. There's someone, and what I keep getting about this person is maturity, but not in the obvious way, not just age. It's a specific kind of maturity that only comes from someone who has already done certain things the hard way. Someone who made mistakes, real ones, and then sat with the consequences long enough to actually learn something from them. Someone who stopped performing confidence a long time ago because they realized real confidence is quieter than that. You feel the difference. I think that's actually what drew you to them because you've been around people who take up room loudly, who make their presence known through volume, through energy, through the constant need to be acknowledged. And this person is different. They take up room in a way that makes you feel like there's more room, not less. Like their presence expands the space rather than filling it entirely. Wait, that's interesting. Because I wasn't expecting that detail to come through so strongly. Let me stay with it. There's something about the way this person looks at you, not in the dramatic, cinematic way where everything stops, more like you're in the middle of doing something ordinary, something completely mundane. You're reaching for something on a shelf, or you're laughing at something, or you're concentrating on a task, and you look up and they're already watching you, not in an uncomfortable way, in the way of someone who finds what they're looking at genuinely interesting. The way someone watches a fire, not analyzing it, not trying to change it, just present with it. And the thing is, and this is the part I want to name carefully, you don't quite know what to do with that quality of attention because it's different from desire that wants something from you. This feels more like appreciation, like someone who is aware that they're in the presence of something good and isn't taking that for granted. You're not used to being appreciated that quietly. No, actually, hold on. That's not quite right. It's not that you're unappreciated, it's that appreciation usually comes attached to something. Usually, it's conditional on a version of you, the capable version, the funny version, the version that handles things well. And what I keep getting about this person is that their attention doesn't feel conditional in that way. It doesn't feel like it requires you to be performing anything. And that's disorienting in the best possible way. I want to describe what the domestic thing is actually about because the title of this is playful, but what I'm picking up is something genuinely tender underneath it. There's an image that keeps coming through. A Sunday morning. The specific quality of light that only exists on Sunday mornings, slower somehow, more golden, less demanding, and you're in their space. Maybe their home, maybe just the particular atmosphere they carry, and you're doing something small, something that requires no performance, no presentation. Maybe you're moving around their kitchen. Maybe you're folded into their couch with your feet tucked under you. Maybe you're wearing something of theirs, something too large, something that smells like them, and neither of you has commented on it because neither of you needed to. And there's a quiet between you that isn't empty. You know the difference between empty quiet and full quiet. Empty quiet is what happens between two people who have run out of things to say or who are avoiding something. Full quiet is what happens between two people who are comfortable enough that silence doesn't need to be filled, who can exist in the same space without constantly managing the air between them. This person gives you full quiet. And I don't think you realized how much you needed that until you had it. The more I sit with this, the more I keep coming back to something specific about this connection. It's not just that he wants you comfortable in his space, it's that he wants to be the reason you're comfortable. There's a distinction there that matters. Because there are people who want you around because having you there makes them feel something desired, important, chosen. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this person, what I keep getting is that their satisfaction is different. It's more generous than that. It's the specific pleasure of someone who sees you relaxed and thinks, I did that, not as an ego thing, as a care thing, as someone who measures their own sense of success by whether the people they love feel at ease. That's not common. Actually, wait, I want to be careful here because I think there's something even deeper underneath this. The reason this matters so much to you, the reason being comfortable in someone's space feels significant, feels almost revolutionary, is because for a long time, you've been the one managing the comfort levels of everyone else. You're the one who reads the room. You're the one who adjusts. You're the one who notices when someone's energy has shifted and quietly recalibrates yourself in response. And this person does that for you. Maybe not in the obvious way, maybe not by saying the perfect thing at the perfect moment, but in the structural way, in the way they've set up their life, their space, their approach to you. It creates an environment where your nervous system can stop working so hard. And you didn't even realize how hard it had been working until it stopped. There's something about his hands that keeps coming through, and I want to describe it because it's specific. Not what they look like exactly, more what they communicate. There's a way this person handles things, objects, tasks, the physical world around them that speaks to how they would handle you deliberately, without rushing, with the kind of care that isn't showy because it doesn't need an audience, the kind of care that exists whether or not anyone is watching. You noticed that before you consciously registered it. Your body noticed it first. There was a moment, maybe early on, maybe the first time you were truly in proximity to them, where something in you settled. Something that is usually slightly braced, slightly ready, slightly monitoring, just went quiet. And you almost didn't trust it because ease has been mistaken for something real before, and you're careful about that. You're careful about the difference between someone who makes you comfortable because they're genuinely safe and someone who makes you comfortable because they're very good at the beginning part. But this keeps holding up. The more time passes, the more consistent the ease is. And consistency is the thing you've learned to watch for. Anyone can be wonderful at the beginning. The ones worth trusting are wonderful in the middle, in the ordinary moments, in the moments that don't require anything special from either of you. This person is wonderful in the ordinary moments. I want to stay with the wifey energy for a second because there's something being communicated here that I don't want to skip over. When he imagines you in his space doing the everyday things, it's not a possession thing. I'm getting that clearly. It's not about ownership or control, it's about inclusion. About you being so integrated into the fabric of his daily life that the domestic moments feel natural rather than performed. He wants you in his shirt not because he's claiming you, because he wants to see you comfortable enough to stop thinking about how you look, comfortable enough to just be. And somewhere in you, there's a version of yourself that has been waiting to be wanted that way. Not wanted for the version of you that shows up to occasions, wanted for the version of you that exists on a Tuesday afternoon when nothing special is happening, when your hair isn't perfect and you're not saying anything profound and you're just there, present, real. That version of you is incredibly lovable and you haven't always believed that. No, actually, hold on. It's not that you haven't believed it, it's that you haven't had enough evidence. And there's a difference. You're not someone who is fundamentally insecure about your worth. You're someone who is empirical about it. You need to see the data. You need the proof to accumulate over time before you'll trust it. And I think the more I sit with this, I think the evidence is accumulating quietly, consistently, in ways that are harder to dismiss than a single grand gesture. There's something about the physical warmth of this connection I want to name, not in an explicit way, in the specific, grounded, embodied way that you actually experience it. You know that feeling of being cold, genuinely cold, the kind that's been there long enough that you've stopped noticing it and then moving into warmth? And the first sensation isn't comfort. It's almost like pain, the nerve endings waking up, the awareness of temperature returning. And then, after that initial almost discomfort, the settling, the gradual release. That's what closeness with this person feels like. Not immediately comfortable. First, a kind of acute awareness, an aliveness in the body that's unfamiliar because you've been at a lower temperature for a while. And then, slowly, the settling, the recognition that this is safe, that you can stay here. You can stay here. I want to talk about something that might feel uncomfortable to hear. You've been performing low maintenance for a long time. You know what I mean. The deliberate casualness, the not asking for too much, the quick I'm fine when someone could have offered more, the careful management of your own needs so that they never become inconvenient to someone else. And this person is not asking you to do that. Actually, I think they find it slightly frustrating. Not in a critical way, in the way of someone who can see that you're carrying something and is holding out their hands and watching you insist that it's not heavy. They want to be more for you than you're currently allowing. And I think the invitation right now, and I use that word deliberately, is to let them, not to perform neediness, not to manufacture vulnerability, but to stop editing yourself down to the most convenient version before you present it to them. Because the inconvenient parts of you, the parts that need things, that want things, that sometimes feel more than you let on, those are not the parts that will push them away. Those are actually the parts they've been waiting for you to trust them with. There's a moment I keep seeing. You're laughing at something. Really laughing, not the social laugh, not the polite laugh, but the uncontrolled kind that takes over before you can manage it. The kind that makes you cover your face, or double over slightly, or make a sound you would never deliberately make in public. And he's watching you. And whatever he feels in that moment, whatever happens in his chest when he sees you that unguarded, that unperformed, that entirely yourself, that is the foundation of what this is. He's not building toward some idealized version of you. He's already arrived at you, the real one. And he likes what he found. Let that land. Let it actually land instead of immediately finding the reason to qualify it. The last thing I want to say is this: there's a softness that's becoming available to you through this connection that you haven't had access to in a long time, maybe ever in quite this form. A permission to be cared for without immediately reciprocating. A permission to need something without performing gratitude so large that it becomes its own kind of deflection. A permission to just receive. His shirt is too big on you, and that's the point. The ordinary Sunday morning, the full quiet, the way your body settles when he walks into the room that's not small, that's not a consolation prize, that's the actual thing. The thing underneath all the things people say they want but can rarely describe specifically. You found it in him. And I think the most important thing you can do right now is stop treating it as temporary. Stop holding it lightly because you're afraid of what it will cost you when it ends. Let it be something that's actually yours. Because I think it is. If something in this resonated, if a moment landed somewhere true, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me what you felt, even just a few words. It means more than you know.